since it's Zoom, what difference does it make? But you need to get ready. Actually brush your teeth. Actually prepare yourself. Dress presentable. Um, Also, there's a company called, the company's name is Colt. Colt for PCs and Macs creates this little thing that can block a screen, because you'd be surprised how many Zoom meetings have been ruined because somebody in the background walked by naked. Yes, I said that. It's happened before. So it's very important that you try to get one of those Colt blinders, or be very aware on your cell phone when you're on and when you're off. People are losing jobs, not getting jobs, losing audiences, not gaining audiences, by not being aware of being able to block the screen properly, or having their audio turned up or down. So be very aware of that. Um, I want to tell you guys a little bit about glasses as well. Make sure you're placing your phone. I suggest a windowsill and standing. A lot of people like to sit, maybe for business, that's okay. A lot of people who are used to performing live are they are sitting because they're just on Zoom. But I suggest standing. Standing allows a lot more mobility and capability of shifting around and creating a different visual plane for people who are watching you. Also, pre-check when you set up. Pre-check your ability to be online. Pre-check how you look on camera, and also check for glasses. You see how much glare is on those glasses? See all that glare? If you wear glasses, you want to make sure in advance you set up where you're not going to have glare. I don't wear glasses on camera, and so that's not a concern. But if you wear glasses, don't just think, okay, you can see me, and then you put your glasses on. Watch out for the glare, because people can't see your eyes. They're not really connecting with the message or the performance you're trying to put across. So that's very important, okay? Windowsill lighting, standing. Actually warm up too as well. I suggest this even for people in business, but definitely for performers. Actually do all the pre-stretching and vocal warm-ups you would do before you would go on stage. Otherwise, you're just shortcutting yourself and giving a kind of, less than. The same thing as the impact of the clothing, what you're wearing. In the same way, uh, make it performance level in terms of preparing warm up of your voice and your body. Warm up your instrument, do all the steps. Some people will say, well, it's just Zoom. I don't need to do all that. Do all that and you'll be far, far more effective. Okay. Um, okay. Another thing that's important that I'm failing on right now, but it's because I'm moving, is the background. Your background's very important. Now, I got to shortcut this because there's no paintings on the wall, there's no furniture in here, but I had to do it. If you want to get a good example of what a great background is, go to Facebook and look up this comedian storyteller. Fantastic. You might know her. She's a regular host of The Moth as well. Her name is Daya Lakshmi Narayan. I had to look at her name. Lakshmi Narayan. Did I say that right, Daya? But look at her background. She has this wonderful, beautiful couch behind her with pillows. And it sets a set. It creates a set for you. So be very aware of your background. Like I said, I had the shortcut today because I'm moving, but be aware of a painting that's there, whether that has glare or not as well. That has a glass on front of the painting. Be aware that you don't have like some laundry or something hanging in the back. Be very aware of the visual layout here so that you're creating the best possible presentation for folks. Okay, now I'm going to go into actual performance and the layout of the screen. Think of it as a tic-tac-toe with, you know what I'm saying? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 squares. I've created a small diagram here. I wonder if you can see that. Can you see that? Can you see that? Okay, so that's basically your screen. But what we're mirroring the stage. Stage left, stage right, upstage, and downstage. And if you look at the layout of your screen in the same manner that you look at performing on stage, you can play on the plane rather than simply center in speaking. Yeah, so Thursday, Mark will be at the meeting as well, or be performing. And then Linda came in the room and it's all just here. You want to use these planes, not only left, right, here, here, and center, but also the planes of back here, for example. And he yelled at me, "Hey, man, come across the street." You don't just do all that here. "Hey, man, come across the street." You can play that here and turn this way. "Hey, man, come across the street." But it's better if you're using it like a stage. "Hey, come across the street." Or if you're whispering, "Listen, do not go in there." Okay? You want to use that quadrant. It's actually, I guess it's called 9 quadrants, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Stage left, stage right, center, you know the layout. Everybody knows the stage, right? But lay it out like that. Use those 9 squares. Use those 9 squares to your advantage, okay? So I was going to mention it's actually a stage for your face. That makes sense? Think of it as a stage for your face and don't just use a simple center here. You may rest here center for the most part, but be aware of how much of that screen you can use to create a nice impact. I want to state before I tell a story, which I'll try to use as many of these elements as I've covered as possible. Um, the one of the most important things that you can do with Zoom that you cannot do on stage at all is a close up. You can do a close up, just like in a movie. You can do a close up. But here's the thing that's very important. You never want to abuse your close ups. You never want to use them too much. You want to use them when they're most effective. That's the key. That's the key. Because if the whole thing is a close up, it has no impact. If the whole time you're here, listen. So then what happened? Like it'll be important because I'm so close. No, keep it at a central space and use it at a key moment. And then they all walked in the room, and I looked over and I said, "Is that her? Oh, I really like her." Close up abuse is going to wipe out your ability to be effective. It's going to wipe it out. So make sure you don't use it too much. Um, but if you know key parts of your story, or you won't use this as much in business presentations at all, but you might want to think a little bit about using it for business so that you can make a key point. So if you're here, and I believe the projected numbers could really put us in a good spot, Tom, or whatever his name is, right? That could be effective. But for performers, we can go boom, all over here. But make sure don't do this unless it's called for. Stay here, stay out here, use these other areas and save those close-ups. Don't abuse your close-ups. Very, very important, okay? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell a story that you guys have never, ever heard at all. This has not been in East 14th or the Kipling Hotel or Can You Dig It or Semi-Famous or DMV or the Downreach Show. And so I'm excited to share this story with you. And here goes. And I'll try to use some of those quadrants to show you what I'm talking about, okay? So I don't know if you guys know it, but I've won a ton of stuff. I've won a lot of stuff. Like every time, like I had a job at NBC, anytime there was a raffle or anything like that, guess who won the toaster? Don Reed won the toaster. Okay. So here's the thing. I've won a lot of things. Give you an example. I won $100 scratcher. I know you guys think you're like $100 scratcher. Don't nobody care about that. but it goes further, okay? I won a $100 scratcher. I won a $1,000 scratcher with my cousin. I won $3,500 on the quarter slots in Vegas. Yes, I did. Now, here's where I got to shift the story a bit and then come back to this point. I'm not a big gambler. I'm not a big gambler for a specific reason because of a huge mistake I made in college, okay? So I'm in college, at UCLA, and I was on the speech and debate team. The speech and debate team, we were doing really well. But there was an area that was connected to performance specific to performing and giving speeches that were humorous or poetry or drama, things like that, right? And I had qualified for the national championships. And so the professor assigned a professor's assistant, a TA, to go with me to Weber State in Ogden, Utah. I was excited. And they gave me $600 of the school's money for me to give money to for my entrance fees at the big national tournament in Ogden, Utah. So we hop in the car because we don't have a lot of money. The school was trying to watch the budget. Plenty of money for the football team and the basketball team, but the speech team, we on a budget. So we drive from LA, from UCLA, to Weber State in Ogden, Utah. But along the way, we stopped in Las Vegas. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Las Vegas. Look, be a lady tonight. My first time ever in Vegas, right? And so I see the slot machines and I go like, of course I can win. I hadn't won anything. At this point, you have to realize, rewind. Hadn't won a $100 scratcher, hadn't won the $1,000 and none of that ever. This is me in college, 22 years old, and I never gambled in my life. But I looked at it and went like, I think I can win this. And so I went over, I started gambling the entrance fees, the school's entrance fees. I started gambling the money on the quarter slots and the dollar slots because I started with the quarters, but I wasn't winning. I said, I need to go bigger. I need to go to the $100 slots. So I went to the $100. I mean, the dollar slots. I went to the dollar slots and I started gambling, going like anytime now I'll win. Is it there yet? Did I win? No, I didn't win yet. Kept gambling, kept pulling. I got down to $599. They gave me $600 for my school fees to enter into the speech tournament when I got there. I spent $599. I had $1 left. One coin left. But I knew for some reason something was telling me you can still win. And there was a $700,000 jackpot sitting there. And I put that last dollar in. I'm like, I know I'm gonna win. Nothing. I lost. I absolutely lost. I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I spent all the school's money. Oh man, what am I gonna do? It was not a good moment. And the teacher's assistant, the professor's assistant was saying, hey, Don, it's time to go. Let's get going. I was like, I'm gonna tell him that I don't have the money. I spent all the school's money. I don't have the $600. I'm 22 in college. I ain't got no money. And so I called my uncle in New York City. He was an advertising executive, was doing very well. And I explained the situation. I said, Uncle Bill, I spent all the school's money I'm supposed to get to enter me in the big speech competition. He's like, listen, there's a Western Union in that casino. Go there. I'll have $600 there. And don't ever do this again. I'm like, got you. In the meantime, the professor's assistant like, let's go. I'm like, hold on 1 second. I went, got the $600 that my uncle sent me, and got back in the car. I was like, whew, that was close. Got to the tournament, gave him the $600, and I actually won. Surprisingly, I won the tournament, number one in the country, public speaking. Yay, fantastic. But I was a loser for gambling all the money. So after that, I was always on watch. No gambling for Don. No gambling for Don. None, right? But I got booked in Las Vegas for 30 days. 30 days. Big booking, Frontier Hotel, Las Vegas for 30 days straight. And they told me when I first got there, listen, Mr. Reed, we have something for you. You should be aware. And that's $500 per week, complimentary gambling money, compliments of the Frontier Hotel. And I was like, can you forward it to my last check? They're like, what are you talking about? This is a, found money that we give you, Mr. Reed, to gamble. I was like, no, 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 no. Is it my money? They said, yes, it is. I said, then I want it on the last check. The whole 30 days I was there, I only spent $2.50. That's it. That's all I gambled was $2.50. Because I learned my lesson, I'm never going to do that again. So I would only gamble like a little bit. Whenever I was booked in Vegas anywhere, just a little tee. So I was booked on this cruise ship, and I won, because I told you I won $100 scratcher, 1,000, 3,500 bucks. So it was all under 25 bucks, 30 bucks, right? So I was booked on a cruise ship. It's called Dolphin Cruise Lines, and I won 7,500 bucks on the roulette, working it up from 20 bucks for real. And then I got booked in Las Vegas at the Golden Nugget, opening for "You'll Never Find," bum, 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 as long as you live, someone who loves you tender like I do. Lou Rawls. I was opening for Lou Rawls at the Golden Nugget. My ex-wife was with me. And on the quarter slots, we're gambling like 20, 35 bucks. I told her a long time ago, I don't roll like that. No, 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 no. Just a little bit. We spent 20, 35 bucks and we were gambling. Well, a little bit of money. We win a little bit. We just wanted to win enough to keep playing, right? And at some point, when she went ding, 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 I said, I think we hit the jackpot. She's like, don't be fucking with me. I was like, no, really, I think we won. She's like, don't be fucking with me. I'm like, and a guy came over. Hi, how are you? How are you? Oh, looks like you won the jackpot. I said, don't be fucking with me. He's like, no, you really won. We won $16,473. What? Boom, boom. 16,473 bucks. We won. We really did, right? We went over to the window and they were like, hey, how much of that would you like to, should we give you, say, half in a check and half the gamble? We're like, no, 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 no. We're taking it all. They're like, come on. Found money. Come on. I was like, no, 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 no. We want, in fact, give us the $473 and change, and we'll take that. But the $16,000, we're leaving with that money today. So they give us a check for $16,473. We gave our cocktail waitress $100. We gave the old lady who was gambling next to us all of our change and some money, and we took the check upstairs to our bedroom and we put it under the mattress. And what we would do is we go downstairs, right? Have a drink and go. When they go look at that check, and we run back upstairs, jump on the bed. Oh my God. And put the check back under the mattress, go back downstairs. When I go look at that check, and we did that over and over. And that's the time that we won $16,473. And the end of the story is we rode home in the car and argued over what we're going to spend the money on for the next 5 hours. The end. Okay, so that's it. That's that story about me winning a lot, but then very interesting what can happen when money interrupts a relationship. I don't want to talk about it anymore. So anyway, so now I hope you saw some of those quadrants that I used, right? For like, hey, this person's over here speaking. Go down here, key moments, only in when it's an important moment to move in. Also distancing out. Oh my God, being aware. But you can do that by laying out that 9, pop, 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 9 quadrants, just like a stage. And you can look that up online, like, a stage layout that shows you stage left, stage right, center stage, down stage left, down stage right, center stage left, center stage right. Look that up and then use the screen like that. When you're performing from a business perspective, you can stay generally in this space here. And then when you want to make a point, I think that's how we can close the deal. Use a little bit of that in and out like that. But don't lean in unless you really want them to hear you. And one last thing, volume does not equal intensity. In this medium, on stage, you can be on stage, you can go, hey, get over here. But here, volume does not equal intensity, meaning you don't have to yell. You can just suggest yelling by going, hey, what are you doing? You see, I'm not really yelling. I'm showing the intensity of yelling, but not actually yelling. Hey, what are you guys doing? But don't actually yell, because otherwise you blow people's screen out. They go like, ooh, you don't want to deal with this person at all. So I think that's all for now, other than the Q&A. Stephanie, are you there? We can open it up to Q&A now.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can't see you, though. I want to see you.
Well, I don't know how. I don't do that part of this. I'm up there in the corner.
Oh, there you are.
See me? Do you see me?
Yes.
I noticed that I have too much light on my face. I had to change computers today because for some reason my other one's cloudy. But I do want to say, could you do that walking down the steps again for us? That was amazing.
Yeah. Went downstairs.
That's hilarious. Okay.
There's so many ways you can use your screen. The other thing, real quick, is that you can edit this by sliding off screen. But when you slide off, make sure you get your whole body out. Because if you go, and we left, and your arm's still in there, it's not like you really left. You say, we left. Get all the way out of screen. Then we went out. Go all the way out. That's very, it helps with a cut and an edit, essentially, when someone's watching you. But go ahead.
That is really excellent knowledge. But so we want to open this up for Q&A. And I don't see a lot of questions yet in the chat. But does anyone have a question? Wave your hand. Oh, Julie has a question. Julie, can we get to unmute Julie? Look at, I'm using all the skills now, Don. Look, we're using the skills. Where's Dan?
Who's using the skills?
Oh, I'm unmuted. That's exciting. Hi, Don. I have a few questions for you. Can you hear me? Is my volume up?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Do I have good volume, first of all, on this computer? Can I clearly be heard?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so the first questions are technical, which is right now looking at me. Am I well lit? And am I well framed in this camera?
Yeah, you are. You could probably back up just a little because your head is getting chopped off on the top. Yeah, right. There you go. Yeah.
And like you, I have some theatrical training, so I'm aware that I can move. I'm sitting down right now. And my big question is, I'm a hypnotherapist, so sometimes I'm providing sessions on Zoom just like this, talking directly into the camera, blah, blah, blah. Now, I want to perform guided meditation as a form of spoken word. And I think at that moment, I should completely be still and restrict my movements and gaze deeply into the camera. What do you think I should do? There's like the introduction to my work in which I can be animated and move about. But then when I'm actually performing the guided meditation, do you think it's better I just look into the camera and be very still?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is make certain that you either clip or place your hair, first of all, so we can see both of your eyes. There's a little element of your hair starting to slide in front of your eyes, and it's cutting off our link to you. So make sure that it doesn't keep sliding in. And then keep a central space like you're doing, because the guided meditation is something that is calming and centered. And then maybe just only gesture with your hands if you're going to say something like, and now you might be feeling a lot more relaxed now. No, you don't need to, like little small gestures with just your hands, but don't use all the body stuff that's like the stage.
Well, I think so. So my question, like in the beginning, when I'm introducing my work and what inspired it and where it came from, I can be animated like this, correct?
Exactly, yes.
And it's a good idea too, because then people are interacting with me. But then when it
Right.
gets to the point where I'm ready to do guided meditation, it could be a simple gesture of something like this. And
Exactly.
then beginning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because the truth is, I'm going to invite them to close their eyes. I don't need to be performing for them anymore. Would you agree?
Yeah, I suggest that, but I think if you would do whatever you would normally do when their eyes are closed, like if there's
Mm-hmm.
a natural gesture, so like, right now you're feeling, sometimes when someone's leading someone through a meditation, they might still be doing some light movement. Don't
Right.
don't avoid doing that just because their eyes are closed, because they'll get the
Well,
true transition of what you're suggesting if you also add what you would normally do without Zoom.
it would be much like I'm doing right now, which is leaning on my hand and really listening and talking to somebody and showing them that I'm invested, right?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I'm using my iPhone as a way of lighting me frontally because I'm positioned, the light outside is not very good right now. Is it too bright on my face?
It's
Or
not
is it
too bright right
reflecting
now,
towards my eye?
and too bright might pull you away from a nice meditative state. It's good now, but don't
Mhm.
try to use any lighting on your phone. Use an external source, be it the sun or additional light from the side. There are these extenders you can buy. They're pretty cost effective. They're rings. They're light rings, and I
Mhm.
utilize those sometimes. They're down in Los Angeles now when I don't have daylight for
Yeah,
nighttime.
I've been debating what to buy. It's kind of tricky because I think a lot of us too, we want to be properly lit and we want to be framed and look professional, but it's very hard to determine what lighting to buy. For example, they have those light rings you can buy, but apparently
That,
you'll see a ring of light in your eye. So this I just
that's one I talk
improvised
of, but
to try. Huh?
I haven't had any issues with a light ring in my eyes. I mean, I think you can see that better in a still shot than you can on camera where you're speaking. I haven't seen any situation where I saw someone had a light ring and I saw it in their eye in a live action movement. I've seen it in still shots, but not in live action.
And then my last question is, as I'm sitting here, as if I was about to guide you in meditation, my impulse would be to come in close a little bit. What's your opinion? And I'm hoping this is entertaining people to watch. Like, what would be your opinion in terms of me as I'm talking to somebody and guiding them in meditation? How close to the camera do you think I should be?
Right here has been your best. Right where you are now is your best. Maybe I suggest you start a little further out and to
Mm-hmm.
show the level of connection, move in at the start of the meditation.
Okay.
But make sure you're saving it for that moment. Don't go in here explaining something and then go out. Go ahead and
Mm,
start at a median spot and then say, okay, now let's begin, and then move in.
right. Because I'm using the green dot of the camera as the person. I'm using that as my focal point to meditate to, which is interesting.
And
And
it's
thank
very
you for
helpful.
your feedback. I don't want to take up all your time, but above it is the camera light, and I just need to go buy some lighting. Thank you. Is there
Good.
any?
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Julie.
You look very effervescent for some reason. I don't know what the lighting is, but maybe Don can say. But we can talk. We have another question, and if anybody else has a question, first we're going to ask one that was in the chat. What are your thoughts, Don, on using virtual background to set up a scene?
Actually, it could be very effective, but make sure that you've run all your tech on that. I've seen some people attempting to use a virtual background and then it glitches out or starts, creating some kind of distortion. And if it goes out and you started with a jungle scene and now the jungle's gone and we're looking at a green screen, it can pull people way out of your story and you'll be better off with a simple background. But if you know you're going to test it and you're going to work on making certain it's going to be operational, then I would suggest maybe doing it. Make sure, though, that it's not too busy and doesn't compete with you as a performer, and make sure that you don't bleed out. Like, don't have on a plaid shirt with a cityscape of New York behind you. It's going to look really busy. Make sure that you test out the tone of what you're wearing, your skin and hair color, and your background so that it's a smooth blend. It's really important.
Thank you, Suyash. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. Suyash Joshi, that was a great question. I think Bennett Caffey has a question. You want to go live and unmute Bennett and Hold on. And then Ray.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, how's it going? How you doing?
Hi, Don.
Good to see you.
So I performed once, but it was pretty fun. But the automatic exposure on the camera, I go dark, I go light, and we move around on the scene. Is there a way to set that so it'll just stay constant?
It is, it usually will do that because your light source is not consistent. If you establish a solid light source, like one of the rings we spoke of, it's not likely that it's going to start doing a ton of adjustment.
I think it's looking at the background and setting the exposure for the background when I'm out of view, and then it's correcting when I come back in view. I think that might be what's happening.
Okay, I haven't had any trouble with that, and my light source for the norm, I try to lean all of my work towards daylight, so that I can use the huge light source of the sun. And I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it. Probably should look into that more, but I haven't had challenges with it. But I would think if you had a consistent large light source, it wouldn't have to adjust as much just because you left the shot.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So we have a question from David Kleinberg. Are you unmuted, David? Yet?
Dave, who runs with dogs that don't belong to him.
But he has to unmute me. Okay, I think I'm free now. Yes, I have a new one-person show that I was just about to do as a Marsh Rising when all of this came down. So right now I am forced to practice my play while I'm out running 2 or 3 times a week, which is actually a lot of fun. And I would like to do it for my family just to keep it going, even though I have no idea when it'll get ever performed again. And what would Don recommend? I have to do this essentially from my office in front of my not my laptop, my desktop, because the laptop quick enough. What would you suggest I do in terms of trying to do this from my office?
Trying to do the entire show?
Yes.
Okay. First, in my own opinion, I would highly suggest doing excerpts instead of the entire show. If you do excerpts, there's a way for you to kind of tease when this is over why people should still come see the whole thing live.
Okay.
If you do the entire thing, you're like throwing it out there. If you can note right now, not a single one of my solo shows is available in its entirety anywhere. And that's by design.
Okay.
Because you want to tease people into your work. If you do a 15-minute version, a 20-minute version, ideally what you would be doing, David, is you would be doing a excerpt of your show with some additional material that you had to edit out because it was going to be too long. Some stuff that's not going to even be in the whole show. So an excerpt with some, like just for an example, lack of a better example, one of the stories of running down the street with the dog and a tangent story that was attached to that, but you like, I'll cut that out. If you do that, excerpts of your show with material that won't be in the final show, but is extra good and important information, do it that way in chunks of, 10, 15 minutes. Maybe the longest should be approaching 20 minutes, but not over 20 minutes. And then you're driving the audience to say, well, I got to see that whole thing rather than laying out the whole thing.
Okay. So it isn't simply an issue that the attention span in this format is necessarily less. It's just you don't want to give away the whole product.
I would say it's both. I would say it's both, but more importantly, not giving away the whole product.
Okay.
And I would also make sure you tilt your screen and stand. Yeah, for sure. Tilt your screen and stand. You're going to need if you were thinking of doing it from where you are now, you need a light source to hit you from your right. Because right now you're well lit left. That's probably outside lighting to your left. And then over here on your right, on me watching you on screen, your stage right needs a better light source. But
Okay.
make sure, but also definitely suggest you're standing. Don't forget doing all the warm-ups you do prior to going on stage normally.
Okay, what about scenes that normally would require me to be sitting and talking with someone, like my wife across from me?
Oh, go ahead and sit. Or if it's not too
Okay.
long, just use the visual of squatting. So we sat,
Uh-huh.
because if you're in tight, you know, because one thing you don't want to do is try to create the illusion in this medium that you're on stage and you're playing it out here so people can see your whole body. It's too far away. You're like a moving thumbnail.
Right.
You want to make sure it's at least medium space.
Right.
And you're basically, this is a medium in its strongest form. That's cowboy shots, which is a medium shot. It's all mostly cowboys in terms of the level of the shot. And then the close-ups, as opposed to someone seeing your whole body like, okay, let me stand back here and do my show. Now look at me. You can't see my facial expressions or anything, you know? So think of it as a medium to close-up space that you're performing in.
More like film.
Yes, exactly. That's the magic of this. But you can also create a close-up that you can never create on stage unless you walked up to audience member's face and they're like, hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know? Like film, exactly.
Right. The one last thing, in terms of doing it for the family, most of them are family that wouldn't get to see it, because I have a whole half of family in Australia and family outside the city that would never in the end come to Mars. But that's okay. I get what you're saying, and you've been really helpful. And I, appreciate exactly what you're saying.
Excellent. I look forward to seeing your show. You know that.
Thank you, David. I think he muted himself. I have a question here from John Soares. Is it possible on this stage, and I guess he means the Zoom as a black box, a real black box, to successfully perform with more than one person in different locations at the same time? Hold on. Don is muted. I wonder.
Okay.
There you
You
are.
can hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So Stacy Keach right now has a performance of King Lear that's available online. Just look it up. Just Google Stacy Keach, King Lear. And it's him and about 9 actors. And they created a visual where everybody has black behind them. Every actor has jet black behind them.
Okay.
And so each of the characters are speaking, and when they have longer monologues, they isolate out like Stephanie and the Marsh are doing for us now. Like right now, you're the only person on the screen. When you have longer lines, you're there. And then when it's the whole cast, if they have multiple lines, they go back, but everybody's background is jet black. So it looks like these almost suspended heads speaking.
Right, sure.
And when they go close up, bam, when one person has a longer monologue or a stretch of time, or they'll split the screen in two people. But look up Stacy Keach, King Lear.
And is it yeah, I'm writing that down. And is it when you're doing that, you and I are now having a conversation. However, I'm seeing, however many other people on my screen. I'm seeing the audience on the screen. I'm just wondering if there's. Oh, so okay. It just made sense to me. It
Okay,
just made
good.
sense to me because being in speaker view is different. Okay, I get it now. Thank
Cool. You're so welcome. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Now we have a question from, is it okay to use licensed music in a Zoom performance? This is from Stan Stone.
I would highly suggest you get clearance. To use it. Sometimes you won't get in trouble if you say this is not my music. Just by simply saying that, you can be okay. But I suggest you use friends' music, like people like they've been waiting for the longest to have their stuff heard, and vet them properly. Of course, don't just use it for the heck of it. But unless you're like using like a few introductory bars, like the radio, like, bing, 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 welcome to the Rick, Tom, and Stan show. We're about to turn it out right now. And then music goes out. If you're not doing some like introductory thing, but if you're using music in the body of your show, you want to get some kind of clearance for Zoom, because this can get captured and presented. Like somebody could, screenshot it or screenshot or pull it from YouTube or whatever if it lasts hereafter, and you could get yourself into some potential licensing hot water. But if you can get it licensed, Hakaya.
Okay. We have a couple more questions. How many more questions do you want to take?
I'll take, what time is it? Do we have time?
It is 12:47.
Yeah, let's take them all the way until we're shut down, till the house closes.
Okay, so anybody who has a question, please wave your hands around so we can find it. Let's see what else we have. I have one now. Well, somebody asked, can you see the show again? So I'm going to let Daniel answer this question about watching the show later than right now. So how do people do that on Marshstream?
The answer is yes, absolutely. We will have this edited nicely and turned around, and on our YouTube channel, Marshstream, on our YouTube channel, probably within a few hours, late afternoon at the latest. I highly recommend that you subscribe to our channel, because Stephanie has so many wonderful Marshstream options on there coming all the time. So, YouTube in about 4 hours.
Hey, I just opened up the screen. I see people. I know. I see Leah Wilborn. I see Heidi. What's happening, Heidi? That's crazy. Okay, yeah. I hadn't opened that area up yet, and now I'm going to go back to where I'm supposed to be.
Okay, so who's got any more questions? I'm not seeing any. If I missed your question in the chat, wave your hand. What else? Any other questions we've got here? Are you looking at a gallery view?
There's Carrie. Hey, Carrie.
I know Carrie's here, our March house manager. It's been so long since I've seen you. How great.
Yeah. She's got some funny stuff too. She got some really funny stuff she shared about being a focused dart player. You got to see it, Stephanie. It's hilarious.
Okay, I bet it is, because I know Carrie's hilarious. We do have a couple of people waving their hands. Stelina up on top.
Is that Carol Steele? Oh my goodness.
It looks like Carol Steele to me.
It's me. Can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going? Oh, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Fantastic. I'm working on a story. I escaped from Cuba. I was the last American on the last American Airlines flight coming out, and I've got a massive story to tell. And my question is, it's very suspenseful.
Mm-hmm.
It has its humor, and it's incredibly suspenseful. So in talking about the quadrants, like really scary moments, are those coming in moments? Are those outside moments? Like scary? Would you have a piece of advice on that?
Okay, there are ways to use the quadrant depending upon whether there's a shock value in them or not. Because if you're going to really scare somebody, you've got to be kind of medium and then shoot in, or from the side and shoot in. If you're here and just go in deeper, then it's just like claustrophobic. You don't want to be in there too much. And even though you have a suspenseful story, you don't want to overuse that close-up. Right. What can be effective sometimes is being gone and creating anticipation, like, and then they showed up. And they walked in like pushing in slow, stepping all the way out. Not just like I said earlier, not just like a shoulder being gone.
Right.
And looking off camera. Another thing that creates suspense is creating for the audience the ability to think that something off camera, like, and backing up, like. So those things can be very effective.
Thanks, Don.
Hope that helped a little bit.
Yeah, trying to learn this new medium is fun and challenging.
Yes.
But I'm excited about it.
You got conga skills. You can do anything. Conga. Conga Zumba.
We're still getting to that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm growing the mustache, my father's mustache now.
That's so freaking awesome. And thank you so much for your incredible generosity today.
I miss you. Giving you a virtual hug right now.
I'm getting it.
All right, cool.
So we have a question from Pat Madden. If somebody wants to unmute, not somebody, Daniel, if you want to unmute her, Pat Madden.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So thank you, Don. My husband and I have seen all your shows. We're big fans. Unfortunately, I came late to the Zoom, and so I was the one that asked, can we watch it later? I'm glad to know we can, because I also sent and forwarded the email to a couple friends of mine who are grammar school teachers. They're excellent teachers, but they are struggling now with how to engage first graders on Zoom. My friend texted me yesterday, a lot of F words in her text talking about kids climbing on the dining room table, climbing on the couch as she's trying to do her lesson. Parents not controlling them. She's going crazy. Now, she's a very good teacher in terms of dramatic arts, but I just want to suggest that you might want to do one of these lessons kind of specifically to grammar school teachers, especially I've seen, ABC News this week honored a teacher that she reads a story every night to her little students on Zoom. But, they hold the book up. You can't quite see the picture that well. They're looking at the book. I was thinking that teacher should really have the words in front of her, almost like a teleprompter, and then hold the book when it's a picture book so the kids can really see the picture. So you're not just looking like this and the book's kind of moving. So just, if you want to think about how to help our teachers, some of whom are going crazy, that would be really helpful.
Well, here's just a quick note of this immediate teacher that you know. One thing that can be helpful is they're trying to have the book in the shot with their face, when in fact, once they establish the book, just the corner of the book need be in the shot. Just the corner. They know the book's there now. Now you got all this space to work with right here. But if you're thinking you're going like,
yeah, they're kind of like this a lot, and it's
they don't have to do that.
Now, I think for older kids and non-illustrated stories, that's really good advice. But my two friends are first grade teachers, so often those read alouds are really the illustrations are important.
Yes. Okay, so I'm wondering if they could use an additional device to show the visual at the same time.
Oh, like share their screen and...
Yeah, shared screen and have her friend or husband or whomever turn the pages. So that's a constant. And so dual split screen, not unlike me and Stephanie. And then they are showing the whole time the visual, pop, 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 pop. While she's telling the story, then she just has the corner here, but the whole book is being shown.
Great. I'll relay that to my friends. But like I said, if you want to think about doing another one of these and take questions from teachers, I think they'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Stephanie, we should discuss that for sure.
We shall discuss it. It could be next week's Zumba for all we know. Zumba for teachers. I think Leah had a question, and then Carrie. Can we get ready for Leah and then get ready for Carrie?
Yeah, hi.
We can hear you.
All right. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Leah. How's it going?
Great. That was hilarious. That was just like an excerpt of a new show or something. I'm just overwhelmed with questions, but so because I'm kind of new to Zoom too. For like a performance monologue talk kind of thing, kind of like if you were doing a Marsh Monday Night Marsh.
Right.
So, well, first of all, this background, what I have in front of me, like behind the screen right here, is the daylight, is a window. And what I have behind me is I would take these things off of the wall, and I would take that cover over the door off the wall. So you'd think things should be blank basically behind you and no.
They can be blank, but if they can kind of fit the setting, like I said, you know who Daya is, the comedian?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at her recent stand-up sit down kind of performances, and look what she did with her couch. She has a couch and pillows, but they create a space in a setting. If you're going to be doing a lot of movement, a blank canvas is good. I think the same thing as a slight tangent of my face. I would never be doing a solo show with this whole beard on because I need a blank canvas. So a blank canvas can work. If you're trying to, if the background is not setting the right mood, it's going to throw people off. So blank is better.
Okay.
But if it looks sparse, it could be kind of bad. I mean, for example, if it's not super clean, like nothing's there, that establishes almost like a black box feel because there's nothing there. But if it's like a few things, then it's distracting. Like, what's that? What's that little thing back there? Wait, what's that over there? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing is this, as opposed to just performance and putting it on YouTube. Like if I started with a Zoom meeting, even if it was just a few people that were the audience, but I could record it and then post that on any kind of platform I would want to post it on. Is that right?
Yeah, because the difference between this and YouTube, there's YouTube Live,
right?
But
and Facebook
this is like
Live.
maybe the most immediate way to get people to watch you, and then you have an additional step. If you do it YouTube Live, people are at the one platform. And if you do a Zoom first and then make it available on YouTube, there's two different avenues for people to have experienced your work.
Okay. That's just a couple of a gazillion but this has been very stimulating. Thank you.
Cool. Good to see you.
Thanks, Leah. Before we go to Carrie, we have a couple of questions. Who was the comedian you just mentioned, Don? Could you spell that name out? Do you remember who?
I'm not going to spell it. Look up Daya Lakshminarayan and start spelling phonetically, and I guarantee you it'll come up.
Well, actually, and it's in our chat. But I think you just mentioned, is that who you just mentioned just a few seconds ago?
Chaya Lakshminarayan.
And also, if you look in the chat, we've already typed it up, so you can look.
There it is right there.
I just typed it, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Leah.
So then we're going to go to Carrie, and then after that, I think it's Laura. Is that who I saw has a question? Yes, Laura. So Carrie, then Laura.
Hello, Don, Stephanie.
Lori.
Hi. All right. Thank you all for doing this. It's been pretty dope. Enjoyed myself and learned a lot. So I just have one question, I think, so far. We'll see what happens. Length of a show. Do you feel like it should be changed? You know, if you were to do like a 50-minute show live, I do a lot of improv. So I do, we're doing live streaming improv. Do you think the length, given that we're doing things on Zoom, it's really, we're only working with here, do you feel that people's attention span as a viewer would prefer something shorter? Or do you think it's, the length of a show is impacted by doing things over this?
I think it is if you're by yourself. If you're on a lineup of comedians, I did a stand-up show with Margaret Gomez. If those faces and backgrounds are changing, then that can kind of warrant length and more time. Mm-hmm. And so that allows it. Like she had 6 comedians on it. Boom. Right. It's me, different background. Bam. Here's another woman with her background. Mm-hmm. The visual stages are changing and the faces are changing. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing it by yourself, stepping back to what I mentioned to David, I would keep it more brief and use excerpts of something larger you do, capitalizing on something you might edit out and that wouldn't be in the final show. So only like a piece of what you're going to talk about will be in your final show and the rest. So then you're not just like, oh, I already saw this to people. Mm-hmm. But use this as a brief platform. Mm-hmm. That's my suggestion.
Right.
And Carrie, I'd like to pipe in here a little bit and say, I know for us doing the Monday nights, and I want to invite everyone, if you've got short pieces, to submit them for our Monday nights. We're doing them every Monday night. We're doing 3 performances. We are trying to limit them. Yeah, Carol, we're trying to limit them to around 10 minutes because that's what we find is best for that format. And I want you all to remember it's going to, what maybe Don can do for 25 minutes. Some of us aren't quite as skilled as him, and we're learning the technology. So if you keep it shorter, we're finding it to work better. We're also finding that the live things, which makes us very grateful, work a lot better than if we tried to shoot in a video from an old Monday Night March. They work much better because they're made. Like Don, everything Don's talking about, they're made so your face is there versus looking at a whole stage, which doesn't work that well on this particular medium. So those are just 2 things I wanted to mention. So yeah, everybody submit some work to us. And then I think we have time for, because I said, Lori, because we're kind of out of time. It's after 1:00. And but before you leave, remember, watch Robert Townsend tonight with me.
Yes.
And tomorrow, singing and fitness. Oh, and the following week, we're doing a super slow weight training fitness class the following Wednesday. Anyway, Lori, are you there still? Where's Lori?
I can't do video, but I'm on audio. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. So my question was about voice quality, loudness and timbre and echoes. And I wonder what your hints are. That kind of screamy, echoey, kind of high treble thing that can make people not want to be listening to you. How do you assess for that and make sure that you don't run into doing that inadvertently?
Okay. I don't know if you can see what I got going on here. Can you see? Can you still see me here? I use blankets. Blankets will absorb. You see that blanket?
Yeah.
I have it there because I'm near a window. And I know it's going to absorb some of that echo or reverberant sound. So pillows do the same. If you get into a space, if you can feel it some, it won't go. It'll cut down on a lot of that. That make any sense at all?
That makes a lot of sense. And then sometimes there's when people are talking to a microphone, they do kind of a screamy kind of voice. You know what I mean? Like trying to project.
That goes back to volume equals intensity. That volume doesn't equal intensity. A yell can be presented instead of an actual yell that's going to blow out and distort in the mic. A person can do the intensity of a yell without yelling. So you can go, "Get out of here." You knew that was a yell, but I didn't really scream. It's about the performance having the intensity to suggest the volume without actually hitting the volume. Does that make any sense?
That makes a lot of sense. In business Zooms that I'm doing right now, when I have other people on the panel, they don't necessarily understand that to be heard, they can quiet their voice a little bit more. They do this thing where they project their voice and it really gets in everyone's ears and their headphones because they think that's what they need to be heard. So what would be your hints? What do you tell people so that they can kind of back off and know how to manage their, you know what I mean? It's just so hard to listen.
It's something you would want to cover in advance. If you have any control or you're the host, then you lay out a couple of guidelines. Remember this, make sure you're in a place where people can hear you clearly. Test that. It's not necessary for you to yell into the mic. You can be heard. My point is trying to in some way go over those beats prior to people getting on. You don't have any control over call-ins or people who call in or ask questions, things like that, but you do have the ability to polish what people are going to see in advance if you have some control over the meeting in terms of establishing, okay, I got these 4 people coming on. You can send them a little brief summary of things to remember so that it comes across well from an audio perspective and a visual perspective.
And I just want to add to that there are some settings in Zoom that you can turn on or off that makes the sound better. I can't remember what they are right now. Daniel, can you pop in and tell us what they are?
There are some auto leveling settings. I'm on my computer right now and not a phone. If you go to the general settings, you'll have different options. Go to the audio tab and you will have a whole great variety of options. So just go to your settings, then audio, and you will have different ways to level your mic. You will have a maximum input so that if you know you're a loudspeaker, you could dumb your microphone down in essence. And there's some auto leveling tools in there also. I'm a big fan of playing with things until you find out what's right. You're not going to break anything. So get in there and start clicking buttons to find out what works best.
Wasn't there also something just for those of us who aren't playing with it so much, Daniel, like you turn off original sound and you turn off something else?
That is a slightly deeper conversation, but yes, the original sound option, which you see in your top, I see in my top left corner, it goes from your default input on your computer to any external microphone that you may have, but that's a bigger conversation.
Except you can just turn it off and it's going to be better for us lay people. Isn't that correct, Daniel? If you just turn it off, you're going to be more likely. If you need to go to the next level, you can figure it out. But anyway, it's late. And I just wanted to say a couple of things. One, please support us by donating to our tip jar. As you can probably imagine, not a single ticket sale is being sold at the Marsh. And that is, depending on if you include our youth program, between 60 and 75% of our total income. So support these shows. We're doing them all for free, but we encourage donations. No donation too small, no donation too big. And besides watching all our other shows, which we want you to, please, let's give Don Reed, this has been fantastic. So
cool.
fantastic.
Thank you. I'm glad it worked out good.
I can't wait to watch it all on the YouTube, take notes. It was incredible. Thank you so much. What generosity, what skill, what a performer.
Thank you so much. I'm going to gamble right now.
What's that?
I'm going to gamble right now.
Thank you all for coming. Come watch
Thank
our
you all. Thank you. Bye-bye, you guys. Bye, everybody.
Woo, 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 woo. Trying. Woo, woo. Bye. Have a great day.